Right. Can you see that then,
I
James?
certainly can.
Fantastic. Awesome. Like the animation.
I did enjoy that the other day. You had that up, didn't you?
Oh, there you go. You've got to have a bit of animation in a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
So this one is one of my little hobby horses, and it came about after something that's been bothering me for quite a few years in the financial advice profession. In that financial planning, financial advice tends to be the only product or service that financial advisors offer. This is what we do, and you can split it down into different areas, but if you don't want to do that, we can call it financial planning, we can call it lifestyle, whatever you want to do. But it's interesting to see some financial planners starting to make more of a thing of, say, coaching, or turning cash flow modeling into something more akin to a service than just something you do as part of the financial planning process. But I've always thought that financial advisors have got such a wealth of expertise and experience that could be turned into other products and services. And for the purposes of this challenge, I'm not going to make it just a digital product. We're just going to spread it out a little bit and come up with some other products as well. And I think this is the big trick we're missing, the opportunity to sell or give away our expertise in other formats that go beyond what we do as the day job. And it also stems from the fact that most financial advisors' websites just simply aren't working. This kind of imagery isn't cutting it anymore. I get why website designers do this. It offers no value whatsoever to visitors to financial advisors' websites. And I'm throughout all of these presentations, I'm using the example of a financial advisor whose specialist niche market is, say, heart surgeons. And if I was a heart surgeon looking for a financial planner and I arrived on this website, and this is a real screenshot from a financial advisor's website, if I was a heart surgeon, this doesn't help me remotely. Maybe that lady used to be a heart surgeon, maybe the gentleman on the right used to be a heart surgeon, I have no idea. What I'd prefer to see is something that literally says, are you a heart surgeon concerned about your income in retirement? Enter your email address here and download our free e-guide for heart surgeons on how to maximize your income in retirement. That would get my attention, no question about it. And that good old-fashioned lead magnet approach is the trick we're missing. And I know financial advisors in the UK, the words lead magnet are a bit salesy, it's a bit American, but at the end of the day, that's what it is. But these lead magnets are actually pieces of real value that are a fair exchange for an email address, or they're a fair exchange for somebody getting their credit card out as well. So what I want to do with this is to go through a dozen or so different ways that financial advisors could make money from their expertise. And then at the end, the homework's going to be kind of pick one that sits nicely with you, brainstorm some ideas, and then let's have a chat and we'll see how we can move this forward. Because some of this stuff is really easy to do and takes literally no time at all. So the first one, the most obvious one, as I said, if I was a heart surgeon and I arrived on a financial planner's website and it says download our free guide on how to increase your income in retirement as a heart surgeon, there's no way I'm not going to give them my email address in exchange for that. And a good old-fashioned ebook, and an ebook does not have to be 400 pages long, it could be 4 pages long. An ebook can be in a variety of different formats. PDF, just literally type out a Word document, maybe put in some pictures or some charts, super easy, turn it into a PDF file, job done. Now, it really isn't difficult at all to do, particularly if it's just 20 tips, 10 tips on how to do something. That is value. Equally, an ebook could be something that you upload to Amazon and it goes on the Kindle. Again, whether that's 4 pages or 400 pages, it really doesn't matter. The Kindle version of an ebook you know, that's going to sit there on Amazon. It's going to make a little trickle of money will come in. But something that could be of value to a client, a particular type of client, or to clients that need a particular type of expertise, really easy to come up with something like that. So that's the first one, an ebook or an e-guide, super simple, and can take you very little time to put together. Tips are also a great value add tool. Before digital printing came along, the tips booklet, the humble tips booklet, you may even remember these, James, you know, the ones across the top there, about the shape of an envelope. They were usually bound with a piece of cotton, actually, those sort of things, super cheap. A local printer could knock these up. They would have 10 pages, maybe, absolute maximum. And speakers and trainers used to have their own little tips booklets, and they used to either sell them at the back of the room after a seminar, or they'd give them away or something like that. But these, however cheap they look, are still highly valued because they contain value. So creating a tips booklet could be really easy. So you could have like 3 tips per page. And it's literally no bigger than an envelope, one of those things. You can also create a mini book, which is it's like a regular book, but small. I don't know if you know Michelle Hoskin. She created the Little Book of Wow. I think I've got it here somewhere, which is basically a mini book. And again, really easy to do. A little how-to series, beginner's guides to, so you could come up with, say, a beginner's guide to equity release or something like that. And case study books are really easy too. You could come up with, you know, if you could come up with a dozen case studies, you could come up with a dozen case study books, and each one need have no more than 5 to 10 pages. Really simple, really easy. In terms of where do the ideas come from, be guided by the sort of clients you've got, be guided by the sort of needs that they have, be guided by the expertise that you've got. So tips booklets, although they look super cheap, are ridiculously powerful, high value. If you are putting on a seminar or giving or a webinar, you can just give these things away. Once you put it together, again, you brand it up with your logo and so on and so forth. Just give them to all your clients, have them on your website, do whatever you see fit with it, but super easy to put together. Then at the other end of the scale, you've got somewhere in between doing a tips booklet and an ebook and a guide and writing a book. And you call it what you like, but special report, white paper, it's where you take an aspect of your expertise and you just write about it. And the fact that it's called a special report is irrelevant, but it makes it sound fancy. And you argue a particular case, put case studies in. Again, something like this, it's a bit more substantial. It's usually sort of A4 kind of size. It could be a PDF document, but it's probably better that it's actually printed. This day and age, printing something like that up that's maybe 10 to 20 pages long is just beer money, to be quite honest, with digital printing. And you can even, once you've written your text, you can go to a website like Canva, and they give you ready-made templates, which you just drop in your text, and you can print them through the site. I mean, which is just absolutely fantastic. Mm. You could come up with a manual, some sort of guide. Let's use equity release, a guide to equity release. A blueprint is just another fancy way of saying this is how you do something. Yeah. Some sort of planner or journal is quite a good thing. In my in this book, just bear with me. In my LinkedIn book, half of it is how to get leads on LinkedIn, but the second half of the book is like a planner. I don't know if you can see that from there. It's just to fill in the gaps, and there's about 60 identical pages where people can diary their journey, journal things they're thinking about, follow a process that you've come up with, anything like that. How-to things. Workbooks are always good as well. If you've ever been to a seminar, quite often there'll be a workbook handout with a plastic spiral bound thing which you just work through. Again, I think workbooks would work really well for financial advisors as well. Something, take the case studies thing, but do something a bit more substantial there, turn it into something a bit bigger. I mean, it's not as if you haven't got the data, it's not as if you haven't got the case studies. Protection case studies are really good. More complex inheritance tax stuff, pension stuff. These things have real value. There are people out there who value this stuff and would happily pay for it as well. A chargeable newsletter is another option as well. Do you do a newsletter yourself, James?
We send one. It's done by Goldmine Media.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great. So those sort of firms, they come up with really good stuff. So what you could do is you could do another version of that. Again, outsource it to someone else to do, or do it yourself, but something that's perhaps higher value, more in depth, that people will pay for. And, you know, the clients that have been with you for quite some time and who kind of know you, refer you, are advocates for your business, they're the sort of people who would say, yeah, I'll sign up for that. And, you know, getting the pricing is always the tricky bit. You know, £120 a year it is about right for most people, that sort of thing. So they feel as though they're going to pay for something. The implication there is a value. When it comes to these high value documents, yeah, you've got to do a bit of work to put the thing together, but there's no earthly reason why you couldn't co-author it with somebody else. And that's kind of worth thinking about as well. So high value documents, call them what you like. They're not a book. They're not a tips booklet. They're probably nearer the tips booklet end than a book, but nevertheless, they are perceived to have pretty high value. Handouts are really, really good ones. Roadmaps. Let me give you an example of a roadmap. Let me just, I'll just show it to you here. So Bill Backrack, here's his roadmap. I don't know if you've ever seen this.
No, I haven't.
Right. So it's about as easy as they come when it comes to, let me think I've got, here we go. I mean, how hard is that to create? Not really. Big goals up here, and simple stuff. Your cash reserves now, want to be, what action you're going to take, growth position now, where you want it to be, action now, your debt position now, where you'd like it to be, what action you're going to take, and so on and so forth, and a few little milestones along the road. I mean, Bill's been dishing this out at his seminars for donkey's years now, and it's still one of the simplest and best handouts I have ever seen, purely because of its simplicity.
Yeah.
And again, we're only limited by our own expertise in terms of what we can come up with in terms of something like that. So, you know, there is a paper-based handout, but that can be digitized as well. You literally turn that into a PDF document or something like that. But the reason Bill does it like this is he gives it out at his seminars that he does. And, you know, he actually wants people to write on it. He actually wants people to take ownership. And if you write on the handout more than people always take it home and they keep it out for a while. So some sort of financial roadmap based on your area of expertise. Flowcharts are really good as well. I think I've got an example of one of those in a moment. And process sheets. I mean, they all basically do the same thing. But, you know, maybe someone wanted to use the equity release example. Maybe someone was thinking about equity release. Yeah, you could send them your tips booklet on equity release. You could send them your process sheet. This is what happens. This is how it works. These are the steps along the way. So handouts are great, and they're high value as well. Video case studies, a little bit more work involved, but to be quite honest, it's not that much work. All you can do is think about what case study. I mean, if I was to say to you, James, right now, talk to me about a case study that you've worked on recently. If I said you had to do it, your life depended on it, and I'm going to film it, you'd be able to do it.
Yeah.
And so video case studies, really powerful. Not necessarily something that you might want to sell, but certainly it is a digital product, a digital asset that you can use in your business that people will find real value because they associate themselves with it. Infographics, again, you're not likely to sell these, but certainly they're a great way of explaining a particular concept. This is a financial advisor in the States who told me that he was planning to write a blog about how to increase your credit score. And I kind of said, well, that'll be exciting. Why don't you make it just a bit more visual? And he created this. And you don't need to be a graphic designer. Again, you can go to a site like Canva, and there's drag and drop ready-made infographic tools on there. Or just go to a website like Fiverr.com, Upwork, something like that, and someone will knock you one of those up for about 20 quid. And when you think about it, think of all the different aspects of expertise in your business. You could create a really nice suite of infographics for each area, whether it's investments, whether it's drawdown, whether it's bonds, you know, whatever it is, you could come up with something quite creative like that. And I mean, here's how these things start. So this is something I'm working on at the moment. I'm trying to come up with some sort of chart which plots cost versus effectiveness for different types of financial advisor marketing. So the most expensive and the most effective tends to be consultants and agencies. The least expensive but least effective is a Facebook page. All that kind of stuff. Very effective and very low cost, writing a book. So I'm trying to put that into some sort of chart, and here's a couple of guys on Fiverr who will come up with some really nice stuff for me. I mean, look at the price where it starts at. I mean, it's ridiculous. And these are people, they're all around the world, quite a lot of them in the Philippines, India, in fact, all over the world, and they do these stuff. And what's really important to them, look, this guy's got 331 pretty well 5-star ratings. So, you know, that's the way the world works now. So something like that, really easy to do. Just come up with it in draft and get someone else to do it. And here's one that I'm halfway through. Needs a bit more work yet. It's about all the different ways you can connect on LinkedIn. And this I'm going to print up to something like this, but I'm also going to put it as a sort of free download on my website as well. Lead magnets for very, very niche markets. Again, let's use the heart surgeon example. This is a very, very, very salesy American type of lead magnet, but it makes the point very well indeed. Learn how to make $30,000 in 7 days. Get my 7 amazing video lessons. They're free. Sign up. That's you know, that's the kind of approach. That approach really, really, really does work. It's just we have to sort of modify it and adapt it to our own particular industry. Yeah. Good old-fashioned podcast. Well, you know, Pete is pioneering the way. Martin Bamford's really, I think Martin Bamford actually, Informed Choice, he did the first ever personal finance podcast quite a few years ago now. But back in the day, you had to do all the coding yourself, create an RSS feed. And Martin said it used to take a month of Sundays, so he stopped doing it. But Martin did the very first one. These days, it's so easy to come up with your own podcast. There is now even an app on your mobile phone called Anchor, A-N-C-H-O-R, where you just press a button, record what you have to say, and the app will do the rest. It will publish it out to iTunes, to all the podcasting places as well. So it's a great, Anchor is the most fantastic way just to get started with a podcast. And if you want to snazz it up with a bit of intro music, they've got all that as well. You can even take adverts into your podcast as well. The thing about a podcast, it's about long-term commitment, really. There's some stat that shows that something like 80% of podcasts don't go beyond the first 10 episodes. So when you see people up there in the hundreds of episodes, you know, but it gets into your blood after a while, and you just can't stop yourself. And after a while, you start spotting all sorts of things. I think Martin's, what are we, 1 day after the budget, 2 days after the budget, and he's already done about 3 podcasts about the budget. So it's a simple and easy one to do, and it's a bit like writing a book. Once you've got the first page done, once you've got going, then the whole thing starts to get a little bit easier as well. But even if 10% of all financial advisors in the UK had their own podcast, there is still just a massive area of opportunity for financial advisors to do this one. Now, here's really interesting as one. This is something that I kind of advocate to IFAs that they actually do in the real world when we can all meet up again. Things like client walks. Say once a month, have a client walk just round the local neighborhood, maybe out into the country, something like that, maybe at lunchtime. It doesn't have to be 20 miles. It can be just off we go for 40 minutes, something like that, maybe even stop off at a pub. And a wine club is another one, but this one could be done online as well. Yeah. If wine is a topic of interest, but I guarantee you would have some clients in your client bank. If you wrote to them and said, we're starting an online wine club next month, and when we all come out of hiding, we might do it for real. You would have people jump at that. Yeah. Now, there's in the UK now, I can't remember how many vineyards there are, but the number is incredibly high. There's bound to be a local vineyard near you, or an independent wine merchant who would be more than delighted to help you with this and do online tastings and things like this. Now, you could give this away as just part of what you do in your business, or it could come with a little subscription where they get 3 or 4 taster bottles of wine every month, something like that. Super simple. Nice and easy to do, but if you can find a local wine merchant or even a local vineyard, they will be more than delighted to help you out. Now, this is one that I absolutely love, an online membership group. So our Facebook group for financial advisors, for want of a better word, is an online membership group. Yeah. The point of this is to add value to your existing clients more than anything else. And you don't have to have 20,000 people sitting in your membership group. You can have 10 people. And as long as they feel valued and that there's interesting content going in there on a moderately regular basis, it's a place they will like to visit from time to time. Now, Facebook tends to be used mostly for online membership groups, but there are loads and loads of other platforms. Facebook groups are fine up to a point. We, Life Talk, used to have our own website, which was its own online forum. But we noticed that Facebook was growing fast. Financial advisors were starting to join Facebook. We thought, well, instead of trying to get everyone to come to us, let's go where the financial advisors are all hanging out. So we created the group on Facebook. We've got about 2,500 IFAs and a few paraplanners in there now. And as you've seen yourself, it rocks. And I have to do very little, to be quite honest. The members of the group, people like yourself, do put most of the content in. And 99% of the time it's friendly, it's professional, but it is ultra high value, particularly to newer or less experienced financial advisors. But then of course you get the ultra technical people who show up every now and again, so everybody kind of benefits from it. But I use another platform called Mighty Networks, which is literally a build your own social networking platform. You can keep it as simple as you like, or you can make it as complicated as you like. You can charge people to join. You can run courses and seminars and webinars. Like everything you can do in Facebook, you can do in this other platform. The great thing with this other platform is there's no algorithms telling you what to see. There's no argumentative behavior. There's no adverts. It is literally build it yourself. But in terms of a vehicle to build value for your existing clients, a small private group could be really, really valuable to you and to them. And again, it becomes part of your proposition. And you can call it your inner circle. You could charge people to join it. It's entirely up to you as to where you pitch it. So you could have a group maybe for all your clients, or you could maybe have a group for those really serious clients, the ones who are real advocates, that is strictly private, maybe limited membership, and which you charge to join. Pays you money, you take your choice. Running your own networking event. Now, again, for when we can all come out of hiding, this is something I'm starting to see a few financial planners start to do. You know, we've got the likes of BNI and NRG and lots of other professional networking organizations out there, but there is no earthly reason why a financial advisor couldn't set up their own in their own location. And this would probably be quite a good idea if you have a few clients who maybe are entrepreneurs, or they're senior executives in local businesses, or they own their own businesses. And it can be literally as simple as, you know, maybe start by running some local Facebook ads, or put a classified ad in the local paper, or just send an email to all your local businesses, business connections, and say, next Thursday afternoon at 5 p.m, we're all going to be in the back room of the Dog and Duck. We're going to have a few beers, do a little bit of networking. We might have somebody speak for 10 minutes, and then it's back to the beers. Please come along. That's it. Simple as that. And in fact, before LinkedIn, there was a website called Academy. And Academy was basically a networking organization. And the founders started it by literally doing exactly that. They wrote to about a dozen friends who had their own businesses, and they said, look, we're going to meet in a hotel bar in London next Monday night. Come along, we'll have a speaker, we'll have some wine, and then just general networking and chatting. 12 people came along. It worked an absolute treat. And then Thomas Power, the guy who was running it, said to everybody, look, we're going to do this again next month. You guys, as you were the founding people who came along, you can come for free if you each bring one person with you next time. Next time there were 24 people, month after that, 48 people, and this thing grew into thousands and thousands of people. So you run this however you like, it's simply a matter of getting people in a room, shaking hands. For a financial advisor, you are obviously it's not there as a selling opportunity, not even remotely, but it does position you as somebody who's a hub, who is a center of authority. It would dramatically increase the likelihood of your referrals increasing. And of course, there's no earthly reason why you couldn't take along a few brochures and leaflets and stuff like that. And indeed, you could do the 5-minute, 10-minute presentation on the first one, or every now and again. So running your own networking event could work quite well. And even now, there are networking events taking place online. Lots of people running their own networking events do exactly the same model. Instead of meeting up in a bar, you're meeting up on Zoom instead. And it takes the minimal amount of organization. Literally, if you've got a local directory of businesses, and I bet you get those stuff through your front door pretty well once a week, there's your starting point, and come up with a nice invitation letter. It's a value for them to come along. It doesn't cost them anything, or not much at all. And it will be perceived to be really high value. Now, another alternative on this is to run your own mastermind group. I don't know if have you ever been part of a mastermind group?
No, I have heard of the concept talked about.
Yeah. Many business people swear by them. The ability to be sat in a room with about a dozen other people, where you share problems, opportunities, and successes with the other people in the room, and it's sort of Chatham House rules. What is said in the room stays in the room. But it's almost like getting a dozen non-exec directors suddenly helping you in your business. And there's no earthly reason why a financial advisor couldn't run a mastermind group. Bit more organization than running a networking event, but a mastermind, the power of multiple minds, there'll be a benefit to your own business, because you know what it's like in your own business. You've got the blinkers on quite a lot. Sometimes you can't see the wood for the trees and so on. And more often than not, it needs somebody from outside who can see maybe a trick you're missing in your business, or an introduction that you wouldn't never have known about, or a resource that they use in their business. And so it's a sharing of resources, a sharing of ideas, a sharing of experience and expertise, and can be very powerful indeed. And if you run a mastermind group, then that you can perfectly justify charging quite a lot of money for this, several £100 a month for something like this, and the value that the individuals attending get in exchange. So I speak at quite a few CEO groups. I did one yesterday. One particular guy, he calls them board groups, and he has 10 chief executives that all meet up together once a month, and they follow that exact formula. What's gone well, what's not gone well, what challenges are ahead, what opportunities are ahead. And everybody helps out, chips in, and then they have a speaker. Works really, really well, and they pay a decent sum of money to go to that. What else we got? Little courses. I think financial advisors are in the perfect position to create mini courses. Literally teach people what are pensions. Do a little mini pensions course. What are the different types of pensions? A mini investment course, a mini protection course. And you can do it in a variety of different formats. Do it on video, do it video email, maybe just normal regular email. You could do it, you could record it on audio, do a series of webinars. And again, people will pay for this stuff. Again, if you go to Pete Matthews' website, Meaningful Money, you can see he's got a variety of different courses aimed at different levels. He has a bit of work to put them together, but my goodness, once that's done, you've got a serious asset there that's part of your ongoing proposition.
Yeah.
So, you know, the wealth of expertise financial advisors have, courses are superb. Seminars, well, this is an obvious one. Most financial advisors use seminars to attract clients, so they're free, or they use them to add value to existing clients, and they'll throw professional introducers into that as well. So seminars are great in themselves, but it's what you can do with your seminars afterwards. So, and I've got an example here, a firm called Taylor & Taylor. I've had these for years. DVDs. They filmed their seminar, they now sell the film of their seminar. And what they did, so they did the first few seminars and they filmed them, and then they created DVDs, put them in a little box, and they have them in a pile at the back of the room of the seminars, because when people go to a seminar that they enjoy, if they could take the seminar home, they would. And if there's a DVD of the seminar, they'll happily pay 20 quid for something like that. Happily pay 20 quid. So video recordings, audio recordings, transcripts, all sorts of different things. Transcripts are amazing. People love those, and they'll pay for them. So you could do exactly the same thing with a webinar. You could do webinars for free, and then you could sell them, or you could give away the recordings. What I quite often do is, one thing I do is I give the webinar away for free, and then as they're filling in their details, a little box comes up and says, would you like an MP3 audio recording so you can listen to it on the go? And you can have that now for 20 quid, something like that. And a lot of people take up that particular option. So essentially record it once, and then you can convert it into all sorts of things. If you do a real seminar and record it, you could just run the audio of the seminar through transcription software, and you've got a book that comes out the other side.
Yeah.
How hard is that? Yeah.
Mm.
Super easy. Again, something financial advisors I think are ideally placed for is produce some content aimed at kids. I do some talks in our big secondary school up here, and I do for the younger kids who are just starting doing their GCSEs, to start teaching them about what the difference is between the social media they use and the social media that we use. And then I also do year 12s and year 13s to start them using LinkedIn as part of their career choices, and gradually moving from fun social networking to professional networking. And I used to do this presentation on PowerPoint, and I realized after I'd done this presentation a few times, I could actually turn that PowerPoint into a book. And that's exactly what I've done. The book gave the PowerPoint slides gave me the template, and I wrote a little chapter just on each of the slides. Yeah. Super easy, really easy to do. And it's on Amazon in Kindle format and in paperback format. It's not particularly big, 30 odd pages, 40 pages, something like that, but it was really, really easy to do. So personal finance for any of these age groups, absolutely perfect. I know in the school curriculum, there's a kind of model they like to follow. When they get financial advisors to come in and speak, they like financial advisors to kind of stick to certain topics, but with their own spin on it. But there's nothing to stop you coming up with your own products that are available on Amazon, or that are available on your website, or that you can't promote directly to local schools or even schools all over the place. So all sorts of opportunity. And also, I once saw in our Facebook group, somebody did a poll, which occupation do you least want to work with as a financial advisor? And I think teachers came up top.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a little bit unfair, but then again, certain levels of teachers, heads of year, and senior leadership teams, perfectly valid for financial planning clients. But there's no earthly reason why a financial advisor couldn't come up with some sort of product, guide, tips booklet. I mean, here there's a perfect one. 20 tips for teachers to save money, increase your income, that kind of stuff. Super easy to do, and you could probably put that together in an afternoon, to be honest. Challenges. I mean, what we're doing here, this is a challenge. Yeah. I mean, I use the word challenge to make it a bit of fun. To make it a challenge, you put a time bound, make it time bound, but challenges work really well. Catherine Morgan, I don't know if you've come across her.
Yeah, I've seen her, yeah.
Yeah. She does challenges all the time, a 7-day challenge. What did she do? Something around your beliefs around money. And people just seem to love it. And I think when you frame financial advice and personal finance in a new way, in ways that have not been done before, it brings financial advice a little bit, makes it more accessible to the masses. I get that most financial advisors aren't focused on the masses, but you can reach the masses with digital or simple products and services like this. And you can either give them away to people and you feel that's me doing my bit for the masses, or you can indeed charge them because people will recognize there's a value on this. So some sort of financial planning challenge could be quite fun as well. Online summits. I mean, if you really want to take this another stage further, so I've done my own summit, the Financial Advisor Mastermind and Challenge. I did that a couple of years ago, where I got 32 experts, and we had people like Michelle Hoskin, Michael Kitses, whole range, Carl Richards, Brett Davidson, whole bunch of people like that, and I interviewed them for about half an hour to an hour each on Zoom. So there was best part of 24 hours worth of content, and we dripped 5 videos out a day for 6 or 7 days. and we did that for free. But if you, and at the end of each day, the videos disappeared. They're only visible for 24 hours. But for people who wanted to have permanent access to those videos, you paid 100 quid, something like that. Hugely popular. That was really, really popular. So again, a financial advisor could do their own summit. So this guy here is doing the online course creation summit with 40 experts. And this guy, Devin here, he interviewed 40 experts on how to put together courses. So if anybody's thinking of putting their own courses, that is absolutely unmissable. Some of the world experts on how to put online courses together. And usually these things are, you give them away for free, but the upsell is if you want permanent access to the videos, you pay. And so that's a pretty good one to do. So you come up with a theme, you do your expert interviews, you drip the content out over the course of a week, make it free and chargeable, and then the where you make more money on it is where you repurpose it. And I mentioned this on one of the other challenges. The recordings that I've got of those 32 experts, one of my jobs to do this year is to run all 32 of those recordings through transcription software and put them all into a book. And that book is going to be probably that thick. So I might do it in 3 volumes. And I could charge 100 quid for that book easily charge 100 quid, and people would pay that. So a summit, a bit more work, a bit more thinking about, takes a bit longer, but there's no earthly reason why a financial advisor couldn't pick a theme based around personal finance, financial planning, interview maybe other financial advisors, or maybe interview clients or business people. Again, it would need some brainstorming, it would need some thinking about. But again, what a fabulous asset that would be as part of your online proposition. And I think this is the last one, the scorecard.
Yeah.
And I've got the gentleman in Singapore, Jerry, if you're watching, he's on this specifically to create a digital scorecard. I just want to show you a couple that are literally going live any day now. So that you can see them. What have I done with them? Where have they gone? Just bear with me. See what I've done with it. Can't see it. Tell you what I'll do. Just bear with me. If I get rid of, I'll show you the homework first, because that's the last slide. Oops. You can't see that. Let's try again. So super easy. Literally just have a think about which of those models has kind of, probably the one that instantly appealed to you would probably be the one that might be worth thinking about. So whether it's an ebook, whether it's a challenge, whether it's something else, just maybe come up with an idea, something that just appeals to you. Brainstorm some ideas as to what the content might be. Again, we don't need to go into any detail. Think about whether you want to do it yourself or do it with somebody else. And then when you've done that, we'll have a chat.
Great.
And we'll help you to take it to the next stage. So that this meeting next week, we'll go into a bit more detail and maybe talk about what you might have thought about, what model, and then start to take it at the next stage forward. So let me just go back to the scorecard thing and just show you one, because that might have some appeal to you. Here we go. Drag this over here. And open that up and share the screen. Here we go. So I'm working with a financial advisor who he's a brand new financial advisor, and he's got a foot in the world of professional football. And as you know, professional footballers retire quite early, and that is either a big opportunity for them at the time, or it's a big problem for the time at the time. So he's created a scorecard designed to be taken by by professional footballers as they are starting to think about retirement. So this will be in their late 20s, early 30s, they'll be doing this. Discover your financial fitness, find out in 10 minutes with the EFL National League Financial Fitness Scorecard, learn how to improve and strengthen your financial skills based around your mindset, your savings, your business and branding as you move forward, and retirement planning. And then he's kind of themed it around retirement. It's just another season in your professional life. Take the financial fitness test and nail pre-season training. Very good. So there's about 30 questions in different categories. They answer the questions, they get a score and a report, and they can then take action with the help of the financial advisor. The financial advisor gets their name. Remember I said right at the beginning about the lead magnet thing? That it was a fair exchange of giving your email address in exchange for an e-guide. Well, this takes it to a whole different level where you don't just get their email address, but you get the answers to the questions as well. And you hit start, they fill in their name, and it asks a whole bunch of questions. So that's one. And there's another one. I'll show you this one at the other end of the scale. Here we go. So this guy here is an expert on behavioral science around money, behavioral investment. Discover your unique saver behavior score. Understand what drives your decision making and behavior around money. Discover the answer in the next 10 minutes. Identify your strengths and weaknesses as a saver. Learn how human behavior can impact your investment returns. Different categories: attitude to money, decision making, your vision, planning, investing. Get your personal score, and again, similar kind of model. The person taking this answers the questions, they get a score and a result, and they get a personalized report. The financial planner gets their details and the answers. It's a bit like pre-filling the fact find before you even speak to them. So there's another digital product. Now, most financial advisors would offer that for free as part of their service. There is no earthly reason though why you couldn't charge people for doing that, particularly if you could make it really quite sophisticated, something like that. So that's it for today. Have a think about which of those things might be of relevance to you, or you could do permutations on the theme. They're all open for kind of thinking about. Just kick a few bullet points around, and then we will talk again. Yeah.
Excellent. Sounds very good.
So that's it for today. Hope you found it useful. Have a think about which product, service, digital product you might want to come up with. Just brainstorm a few ideas around, talk to me, and we'll take it forward. And in the meantime, we'll see you on the next session. Take care.